So Shabbat Shalom, everybody. It's so nice to see everyone. I want to welcome Myra specifically tonight, and also Roseanne, Roseanne Levitt, who I think may be watching on YouTube. So anybody who is watching on YouTube, welcome, and welcome to everyone who is here in person. Let's take our moment and enter into a Shabbat kind of mindset. Whatever is weighing on your spirit, on your soul, take a deep breath and see if you can put it aside for a little while. We have the privilege of being able to be here together, to see, we can see faces, some of us, many of us, and that's better than if we couldn't do that. So I'm glad to be here with all of you. If we were not on Zoom, this is a situation where I wouldn't be able to be with you. Because as most of you, I think, know, I had a positive COVID test results last week, despite the fact that I don't believe I have any symptoms. I feel fine. So I'm either asymptomatic or it was a false positive, but we don't know. Either way, I have to stay in my bedroom for a couple more days. And that's why you can't see anything except my face, because I'm in my room. But truly, really, I'm fine. I feel fine. I'm able to continue doing my work because I was working from home anyway. And I'm able to be here with you because we're all in our homes. So it's all very good. So let's begin our service. I'm going to share the prayer book. There it is. It is a time for turning. To everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under heaven. That's from the book of Ecclesiastes. Now is the time for turning. The leaves are perhaps beginning to turn from green to red and orange. The birds are beginning to turn and are heading once more toward the south. The animals are beginning to turn to storing their food for the winter. For leaves, birds, and animals, turning comes instinctively. But for us, turning does not come so easily. It takes an act of will for us to make a turn. It means breaking with old habits. It means admitting that we have been wrong, and this is never easy. It means losing face. It means starting all over again, and this is always painful. It means saying, I am sorry. It means recognizing that we have the ability to change. These things are terribly hard to do. But unless we turn, we will be trapped forever in yesterday's ways. God, help us to turn from callousness to sensitivity, from hostility to love, from pettiness to purpose, from envy to contentment, from carelessness to discipline, from fear to faith. Turn us around and bring us back toward you. Revive our lives as at the beginning, and turn us toward each other, for in isolation there is no life. And that's not physical isolation, that's emotional and psychological isolation. We are all reaching toward one another, and because we are doing that, we are not truly isolated, which is not to say that physical isolation is not difficult. I honor the gift of stillness and rest, a day devoted to peace. Peace within my soul. On this day, I have everything I need. Peace with those around me. On this day, I seek no quarrel or strife. Peace of earth and sky, green trees and quiet water. I give thanks that I am present in this world. I celebrate the miracle of existence, the breath within me, the beating of my heart, the love that blesses my life. Does anyone have candles that they could light and do the blessing for us? Linda, are you saying yes, you have candles?
I lit mine already.
And so you already did the blessing? Okay, anybody else? Candles, anyone?
If I had known, I would have waited.
Okay. Well, oh, Judith. Wonderful.
Okay, I could do it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Good Shabbos. I'm glad to see you.
Shabbos.
Shabbos.
Good Shabbos.
Good Shabbos, everyone. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahad l'kner shel Shabbat. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with the mitzvot, commanding us to kindle the lights of Shabbat.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you.
And now we turn to the Kiddush. Is there anyone who would like to read the Kiddush in English, who's got some libation handy? Oh, I saw a hand. Was it you, Robert?
Yep. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, creative fruit of the vine. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who finding favor with us, sanctify us with mitzvot. In love and favor, you made the holy Shabbat our heritage. As a reminder of the work of creation, as first among our sacred days, it recalls the exodus from Egypt. You chose us and set us apart from the peoples. In love and favor, you have given us your holy Shabbat as an inheritance. Praise to you, Adonai, who sanctifies Shabbat. Baruch Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech olam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech olam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho b'ahavo v'ratzon, Inchilanu zikaron masei vereshit ki hu yom tekilai kodesh zeichel etziat Mitzrayim kivanu v'achata v'otanu kidashta Mikol Hamim B'Shabbat Kodshecha B'Ahava V'Ratzon Inachaltanu Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat. Amen.
Amen.
Two angels follow me home, chesed and gevura, kindness and judgment, love and discipline. May both dwell within me, gentleness and generosity that expand my soul, firmness and self-restraint, the strength to say no. On this day of shalom, may I be shalem, well-balanced and whole. We continue with Lecha Dodi, the poem that invites us to turn to one another, to address each other as beloved. Beloved, come with me. Let's greet the Shabbat bride, bringing joy and beauty to our Shabbat.
Lecha Dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nei kabela. Lecha Dodi likrat לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. שמה וזכור בדיבור אחד, ישמיענו אל המיוחד, אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, לשם ותפארת ולתהילה לך דודי, לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה, לך דודי, לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי היא מקור הברכה, בראש מקדם נסוכה, סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה, לך דודי, לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה, לך דודי, לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. התעוררי, התעוררי, יברך קומי אורי, 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 שיר דברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה, לך דודי, לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה, לך דודי, לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. בואי ושלום עטרת בלה, גם בשמחה וצהלה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה, בואי חלה, בואי חלה, לך דודי, לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה, לך דודי, לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה.
We continue with the call to worship the Baruch Hu. I invite you, if you choose and if you're able, to rise.
Baruch hu et Adonai HaMevorach, Baruch Adonai HaMevorach, HaMevorach Le'olam va'ed, HaMevorach, HaMevorach Le'olam va'ed.
Let's be seated. If you would like, please read with me. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, ruler of the universe, who speaks the evening into being, skillfully opens the gates, thoughtfully alters the time and changes the seasons, and arranges the stars in their heavenly courses according to plan. You are creator of day and night, rolling light away from darkness and darkness from light, transforming day into night and distinguishing one from the other. Adonai Tsevaot is your name. Ever-living God, may you reign continually over us into eternity. Blessed are you, Adonai, who brings on evening. Baruch atah Adonai, hama'ariv aravim. And as we think about the heavenly lights, the light that is in the sky tonight is a full moon because it is the middle of the month of Elul. So if you have a chance to look at the sky out your window or step outside and admire the full moon, that could be good. Ahavat olam.
Ahavat olam, Beit Yisrael, Amacha מצוות, חוקים ומשפטים, אותנו לימדת. על כן אדוני אלוהינו, בשוכבנו ובקומנו, נשיח בחוקיך, ונשמח בדברי תורתך, ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד. כי הם חיינו באורך ימינו, ובהם נגי יומם ולילה.
We prepare for the Shema with open up our eyes.
Open up our eyes, teach us how to live. Fill our hearts with joy and all the love you have to give. Gather us in peace as you lead us to your name, and we will know that you are one. We will know that you are one. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem, Kevod Malchuto, Leolam Vaed. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavecha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha. Ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzvacha hayom al levavecha ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וגישרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בעיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
If you choose, please read with me, Crossing the Sea. Eternal, watch over my small domain of light and shadow, those few people who share my love, and all others upon this earth that sometimes shakes with thunder and reverberates with lightning. Help us to live with fear and conquer rage, heal the hate that makes us kill, and covers the ground with this Red Sea that only you can part, so we may all walk through the wilderness to your realm of peace, where all men and women are one, and sing your blessed name.
Bailim Adonai, mi kamocha nidar b'kodesh, mi kamocha bailim Adonai, mi kamocha nidar Nidabar Kodesh, Norati Lot Osefele, Norati Lot Osefele, Micha Mocha Bailim Adonai, Micha Mocha Nidabar Kodesh, Adonai Yimloch Leolam Vahed. Adonai Yimloch Leolam Vahed. Micha Mocha Bailim Adonai. Micha Mocha Neidaba Kodesh. Neidaba Kodesh.
Bless our sleep with peace, Adonai, and awaken us to life when we rise. With power sublime, spread over us your shelter of shalom, and through your wisdom restore us, make us whole. Let your name proclaim your presence in our lives. Be our shield. Make us stronger than the enemies we face, illness and war, famine and sorrow, and stronger than the enemies in our hearts, wickedness and sin. Carry us to safety as on wings, for you are the monarch of grace, the sovereign of compassion. You are the one who cares for us and sets us free. Watch over us, we who go forth to life. Watch over us that we may come home in peace, now and till the end of time. Baruch atah Adonai, hapores sukat shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael ve'al Yerushalayim. Blessed One, you spread over us a canopy of peace, a shelter of shalom over all Israel, your people, and over Jerusalem.
Shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
We have arrived at the tefillah where we imagine ourselves to be in God's presence. So I invite you, if you choose and if you're able, to rise.
Adonai, Sefatai tiftach ufi agid hilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. ya la lai lai lai, ya la lai lai lai. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu, v'Elohi Avotinu, v'Imoteinu, Elohi Avraham, Elohi Yitzchak, v'Elohi Yaakov, Elohi Sarah, Elohi Rivka, Elohi Rachel, v'Elohi Leah, Ha'el Hagdol, Hagibor ve'hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Ve'konei Hakol, Ve'zocher Chasdevot Ve'imahot, U'mevii Geula Livnei Venehem, למען שמו באהבה, מלך עוזר, מושיע ומגין. ברוך אתה אדוני, מגין אברהם, בעזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, בחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע, מוריד הטל. מכלכל חיים בחסד, בחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומידה מלך, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה לחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך הסלע. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
Let's be seated. If you choose, and if you can see it on the screen, please read with me. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day, and may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh haShabbat. You are with us in our prayer, our love, and our doubt, in our longing to feel your presence and do your will. You are the still, clear voice within us. Therefore, O God, when doubt troubles us, when anxiety makes us tremble, when pain clouds the mind, we look inward for the answer to our prayers. There may we find you, and there find courage, insight, and endurance. And let our worship bring us closer to one another, that all Israel and all who seek you may find new strength for your service. Baruch atah Adonai, she'otcha levadcha b'yirah na'avod. We come now to our prayer of gratitude, hoda'ah, and I'd like to invite you to share anything for which you are grateful today. You can type it into the chat, or if you would like to share it aloud instead, you may unmute yourself and chime in. So who has something they want to share gratitude for this evening? Linda, you appear to be unmuted.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I'm grateful for that. I am very grateful and very thankful that I got 2 wonderful doctor's reports this week.
That's wonderful. Mazel tov.
Thank you.
Modima nachnu lach. We are grateful for that. Emma Rose.
I'm grateful for my boyfriend, bringing dinner over, and the full moon. And my boyfriend.
All right. Thank you, Emma Rose. Mona Goldberg.
I'm grateful that I'm going to finally see my children, and I'm driving up to Croton on Hudson tomorrow. It's been a while since I saw them, my children and grandchildren. And I'm very grateful that my grandson Alexander's projects were removed from the fires in Northern California, but he had built for a Boy Scout project, he had built a pen for dogs. So when people come with their dogs and they want to hike without the dog, they have a place to leave the dog. And a bat cage, which I'm really not sure what that is, but everything was destroyed, but that was not touched. That's like a miracle. No.
Thank you, Mona. Modima nachnu lach. In the chat, let's see, I have to find the first one. Diane Schenker says, grateful for a week of health. Modima nachnu lach for health. Jonathan Schachter, welcome, Jonathan. I'm so glad you joined us. I'm always happy to have dinner on a Friday night with my dad, who turns 93 next month. Wow, that's wonderful. Modim anachnu lach. Robert Rothman says, for the fire department. Indeed, Modim anachnu lach, and for all of those who are essential workers and civil servants in this time. Michael Rose says nice weather, and Catherine Haslanger says sunny days. And Susan, I think that's Susan Handworker, says grateful for life. Indeed, Modim anachnu lach. Alan is grateful to all of the people who have had the patience to continue to help bring him into the information age. He says, we know who we are. So Modim anachnu lach for the technology that can bring us together, and also for the ability to learn to use it, which is definitely not nothing. Linda Kushner Silverman says she drove her car to the bank, and happily they observed social distancing, and she did her steps outside, which is much easier to manage than inside. Modim anachnu lach for being able to get out of the house. Karen Kramer is grateful for beautiful summer days at the beach. Anyone else? Noni.
I am just grateful that Aaron and Emily are both with me this weekend together at the same time, and to see how happy they are to be with one another. So that's the best thing.
That's wonderful. Motim anachnu lach. Anybody else? I'm looking through to see if anybody is waving at me. I can't tell if Susan is waving or not. Oh, Monica.
I'm just very grateful to be here with all of you. It really is, it's very special, and I find it extremely touching. So thank you so much.
Well, so glad that you are not only able to hear us, but you are able to see and talk.
Fine, I'm putting the rabbi on.
That's great. Janice, do you have something to add?
Oh, I'm sorry. Let me mute myself. No, ma'am. I'm so sorry.
That's okay. It's actually a time when people are talking. We're sharing things that we're grateful for.
Oh, well, you're, oh, really? I just put, you know what I'm grateful for. I already told you.
Well,
I am grateful for my 30 years of service being done at my job, and now being semi-retired and really enjoying it. So
yes, That's wonderful. Modim anachnu lak, to be able to work somewhere for 30 years and then to be free.
Mm-hmm.
Ruth, do you have something to share?
Well, I'm grateful that you're well enough to lead our service tonight.
Yeah, me too. Yes, I actually really do feel fine, so that's really good. And for anybody who came in later and doesn't know what we're talking about, a little over a week ago, I had a positive COVID test. But I have not been feeling sick. I feel fine. I don't know if the test was accurate or not. All I know is I have to stay in my bedroom for a couple more days and then I'll be able to come out. But I really do feel fine. So thank you everyone for your concern. And I am extremely grateful to this community where so many people reached out to me and checked to see if I or my family needed anything. So we don't, we're good. But yeah, I'm very grateful for that. Laura says she is grateful to be able to work remotely and for this congregation. Steve, do you have something? Steve Sufian? No? Okay. For all these gifts, God of majesty, may your name come to be blessed and praised, our gratitude a daily offering until the end of time. And may all life resound with gratitude and faith in praise of your name. God, you free us and strengthen us. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha ulecha na'el lehodot. Blessed are you, Adonai, whose goodness deserves thanks and praise. And now, as we always do, we pray for peace, peace in our hearts and in our homes and in our nation and in our world.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael Omecha Tasim Leholam Shalom Rav al Yisrael Omecha Tasim Leholam Ki ata melech adon lechol hashalom. Ki ata melech adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Omecha Tasim leholam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Omecha Tasim leholam. V'tov b'necha levarech et Amecha Yisrael b'chol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם.
And now we continue quietly. There are words on the screen, but of course we can always use the words in our own hearts. We continue quietly.
Io le razzoni imrei fi, vegio libi lefanecha, Adonai tzuri, Adonai tzuri, vego ali.
May the words of our mouths and the meditations in our hearts be acceptable in your sight, O God, our strength and our Redeemer. Amen. We turn our thoughts now to those among us and those in our hearts who are ill and who are in need of healing of body, of mind, or of spirit. If you have names that you did not send into the office, please, you may add them in the chat, and I'll also give you an opportunity to add them aloud. We hold in our thoughts and in our hearts for healing Jesse Sakharoff, Ronnie Turek, Ira Weiss, Elaine Drucker, Alan Fremer, Susan Bilecki, Andrew Mazzella, Michael Luck, Barry Strumpf, Selma Carl, Suzanne Leknos, Mel Lipton, Linda Kushner Silverman, Esther Batlusi, Bruce Lumish, Marilyn Broadbar, Joellen Fox, Barbara and Irv Weiner, Andy Glantzman, Ira and Deanna Roth, Ellie Heinrich, Phyllis O'Neill, Marcy Babayatsky, Shirley Amrani, Suanne Fishkin Horowitz, Emerson Berger, Della Cohen, Susan Shuro, Iris Merlis, May Sun Lei, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Eddie DeAngelis, Nettie Trommer, Mia Gannon, Vicky Lightnaker, Dolores Weinberger, Ingrid Grosso, Roberta Gotthelf, Audrey Cohen, Fran Sisler, Ruth Ryback, Harumi Rhodes, Hiroko Yajima, Bert Migdal, Haley Migdal, Lotta Bloom, Roberta Hayrath, Moshe Ber Ben Saratova, Riva and David Cohen, Laser Ben Lillian, Myra Canal, Liz Yasuda, Park Shing Lam, Richard Zagam, Mark Steiner, Paul Steiner, Monica Bayer, Patty and Erwin Cohen, Marion Mandel, Mimi Karp, John Carfisi, Francis O'Haran, Orlando Aiello, Ali Weissman, Julie Cicero, Mark Cicero, Kate Roach, Evan Couch, Christina Leknos, Harold and Jane Gleiberman, Joellen Fox, Barbara and Irv Weiner, Dolores Soldo, Annie Nusimovisi, Michelle Nusimovisi, Claire Sieber, Arlene Rosenthal, and at least a couple of you have added me to the list as well, for which I thank you. We also include prayers and support to the NYPD, Ruth Rubin, Gordon Berlin, Joshua and Palia Cohen, Richard Averbach, Freya Kashmir, Delphine Wolf, Ellen Hoyt, Ronald Burke, Sophie Tuttleman Kriegler, Daniela Franco, Marion McGivney, Inga Probetsky, Suzanne Hernandez, and Elliot Woofsey, Daniel Silverman, Camille McGinnis, Shelley Samet, Ronnie Kantowitz, Tara and Jackson Kushner, Levana and Stanley Tenon, and John Belay. Does anyone else have names that they would like to add? Go ahead. Somebody just unmuted their phone. 347-394-4857. Do you have a name to add?
No.
No? Okay.
No.
Gerard?
Yes.
So it's Rita. I want to add George Landberg and Lyle and Judy Silversmith.
Thank you, Rita. Gerard?
No, no one else.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Judith?
Yeah, thank you, Rabbi. Stacy David, Julia Lauren, and Wilma Mauser, Hannah Paines, Irene Nashinoff, and Sarah West.
Thank you. Oh, I also want to include Robin Bass. Steve Sufian?
All those in need of healing, which is just about everybody, including us.
Thank you, Steve. Anybody else have a name that they would like to add? Oh, did I just see a wave? Mona, do you have another name to add? Mona, you're muted.
I'd like to add Rita Kravitz.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? All right. We also include all of those who are suffering from COVID-19 or from the steps that have been taken to mitigate the spread of the virus. We include those who have been wounded in service to our country or Israel, those who have been hurt in protests, in the fires in California, in the Jericho in Iowa, in the hurricane, Hurricane Laura, and those who are suffering due to any other disasters, natural or human created. Misha Berach.
Misha Berach Avotenu Mekor HaBracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength who blessed the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Misheberach imotenu Mekor HaBracha Lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
Shabbat Shalom. In the mega hit musical Hamilton, there is a song that has a repeated line that goes, "Who lives, who dies, who tells your story?" The way that we know who we are and where we come from is through stories. Sometimes we call them myths, sometimes we call them history. And there's more overlap between those two than we'd like to admit. It's impossible to include every detail of something that's happened in the story of that happening. And so every single time we tell a story, we make choices about what to put in and what to leave out. And indeed, who tells your story can determine whether you are hero or victim, villain or victor, in fact, whether you are remembered at all. Sometimes stories are codified in an attempt to shape identity, to tie everyone into a community through agreement on a shared story. Politicians use stories in this way sometimes to try to get people to identify with a certain vision of a nation. And religions use stories like this too. The Exodus is a shared story that has been core to identity not only for Jews, but historically to others as well, including the founding fathers of the United States, who were so taken with that story that some of them thought the spoken language of this country should be Hebrew, which, by the way, would have made things easier for a lot of us. At the beginning of this week's Torah portion, Ki Tavo, the Exodus is incorporated into a formula to be repeated by the Israelites at a specific time each year. Moses instructs them that when they are living in the promised land, they are to bring a sacrifice of the first fruits of the harvest each year at Passover time. Each household is to go before the high priest with the sacrifice and recite this collective story. My father was a fugitive Aramean. He went down to Egypt with meager numbers and sojourned there. But there he became a great and very populous nation. The Egyptians dealt harshly with us and oppressed us. They imposed heavy labor upon us. We cried to the Eternal, the God of our ancestors, and the Eternal heard our plea and saw our plight, our misery, and our oppression. The Eternal freed us from Egypt by a mighty hand, by an outstretched arm and awesome power, and by signs and portents, bringing us to this place and giving us this land, a land flowing with milk and honey. Wherefore I now bring the first fruits of the soil, which you, Eternal One, have given me. If that passage sounds familiar, it might be because our rabbis later incorporated it into the Passover Haggadah. So to this day, Jews all over the world recite this passage every year at Passover time, even though we no longer bring a sacrifice of first fruits. There are a number of important elements of collective identity that are codified in this recitation. One is that this is a story about us. It's not about ancestors, even though it is. As it says elsewhere in the Passover Haggadah, we remember the Exodus as if we ourselves had come out of Egypt. Another important point is that it is God alone who is responsible for our redemption from Egypt. Moses, Aaron, Miriam, Pharaoh, none of them is mentioned. A third element is that God is also the one who gave us the land, and that it is a wonderful, fertile land. And one of the interesting things about the land being referred to in this recitation as flowing with milk and honey is that at one point in the wilderness where the Israelites are complaining about having been brought out of Egypt and being stuck in the wilderness, they say, why did you take us from a land flowing with milk and honey? But they're referring to Egypt at that time. So here we see that same phrase used for the promised land. Now, this story is not about any individual's memory, and it isn't even really about history. It's about identity. And it's a teaching tool to instill these particular elements of identity in everyone who recites them or hears them year after year. It's liturgy, like our prayers in our prayer book. It's exactly what it is. Not every story is codified in exactly this way, but cultures, religious groups, and families do tend to have collective stories that help them understand and define who they are. We are in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic. What is the story you would tell about this time? Is it a story of people pulling together and helping each other? Is it a story of people turning against one another? Because it could be either. Both of those things have been, and will continue to be true in this time. People are helping each other and people are turning against each other. The question is, what elements of identity do we want to teach? And what is the story we tell that will communicate who we want to be? Who do we want to make sure is present in our story? And who will be left out? In this Jewish month of Elul, our month of introspection and preparation for the days of awe of Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, we are not to ignore any part of our behavior from the past year. Once we have repented and atoned, however, we have the opportunity to carry forward the parts of our story we want to emulate in the future. It's not about erasing the past, but it is about reminding ourselves and teaching those coming after us what we value in our group identity. May we develop stories that encourage compassion, responsible behavior, gratitude, and justice. Amen and Shabbat Shalom.
We tell each other stories so that we will remember. Try and find the meaning in the living of our days. Always telling stories, wanting to remember where and who we came from, who we are. Sometimes there's a story that's painful to remember, one that breaks the heart of us all. Still we tell the story, we're listening and confessing what we have forgotten in the story of us all. We tell each other stories so that we will remember, trying to find the meaning.
Thank you so much. For those who don't know her, this is Emily Donato. She is our cantorial soloist, Noni Schuster Donato's daughter, and it is always a special, special treat when she is with us. So thank you, Emily. We have come now to the Aleinu. Our mission is to plant ourselves at the gates of hope, not the prudent gates of optimism, which are somewhat narrower, nor the stalwart, boring gates of common sense, nor the strident gates of self-righteousness, which creak on shrill and angry hinges. People cannot hear us there. They cannot pass through. Nor the cheerful, flimsy garden gate of everything is going to be all right. But a different, sometimes lonely place of truth-telling about your own soul, first of all, and its condition, the place of resistance and defiance from which you see the world both as it is and as it could be, as it will be, the place from which you glimpse not only struggle, but joy in the struggle. And we stand there beckoning and calling, telling people what we're seeing, asking them what they see. I invite you, if you choose and if you're able, to rise for the Aleinu.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, latit gdula le'otzeh bereshit, shehu notei shamayim ve'yosed aretz, u'moshav yikara b'shamayim mimal, u'shchinatu zo begavhei meramim, hu Eloheinu ein od, v'anachnu koreim u'mishtachavim u'modim lifnei melech malechei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu. ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא, יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
Let's be seated. We turn our thoughts now to those who are no longer with us, our loved ones who have died in the past days or weeks or months, or in past years at this time of the year. I invite you, if there are names that you would like to add for the Mourner's Kaddish, to type them into the chat. I will also give you an opportunity to say them out loud. We remember those who have died in the past year. Michaela Schaefer, Helen Zegerman-Schwimmer, Ido Sheffi, Elaine Gordet, Stephen Kamholtz, Carol Gross, Carol Andre, Robert Serpico, Jeanette Riley, Melvin Barish, William Lamp, Ina Sandals, Martin Shankin, Solomon Tettelbaum, Howard Jankelowitz, Sean Singer, Jeff Harris, Sammy Berger, Rabbi Kenneth Roseman, Chaim Braunzweig, Harry Baylor, Ben Schaefer, Shirley Hyatt Tobias, Myron Klein, Ted Tobias, Rita Belay, Jay Jankelowitz, Sandy Gannon Abel, David Ribbler, Bess Newman, Buzz Lorch, Benjamin Benjamin Elwood, Edward Albino, Joseph Davis, Jerry Charon, Gary Zeitlin, Sean Devlin, David Levy, Lenny Drucker, Beverly Tredinick, Evelyn Pincus, Rita Spiro, Beatrice B.J. Jacobs, Melvin Jorgrau, Gloria Katzen, Lorraine Elmer, and Amanda Corwin. Our Yahrzeit list this evening includes Gilda Adler, who was Fran Silverman's mother, Joseph Fadum, who was Nancy Ostrover's father, Herbert Migdal, who was Diane Schenker's brother, Herbert Sakowitz, who was Elaine Drucker's brother, Claire Salad, who was Grace Schneider's aunt, Dora Taryn, who was Natalie Friedlander's mother, Pesha Tilken, who was Sherry Burns and Milton Platt's grandmother, and Samuel Wasserman, who was Barbara Wasserman's husband. Yesterday was also the yahrzeit of Joel Kushner, Linda Kushner Silverman's beloved husband, 23 years ago. And Karen Kramer adds Leatrice Langer. Does anyone else have a name that they would like to add for the Mourner's Kaddish?
Paul Cross.
Anyone else?
Lila Riemann.
Anyone else? Okay. We also include all of those who have died from COVID-19 in our country and around the world. Susan, do you have a name to add? You've unmuted. Not Susan Sisler, Susan Handworker. No? Susan, do you have a name to add? No? Okay. All of those who have died from COVID-19 in our country, which is around 187,000 already, and around the world. We include those who died in the Derico, in Iowa, in Hurricane Laura, in the fires in California, And for various reasons, various causes all around the world, whether it was war or famine or terror or disaster, or alone and homeless on our city streets. I invite you to participate in the Mourner's Kaddish according to your own custom. And if you don't have your own custom with regard to the Kaddish, I invite you to rise if you're able and join in. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, be'alma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chaye dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'v'zman kariv v'yimru amen. Yehe shmei rabbah mevorach le'olam u'lalmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yit hadar, v'yit alev, v'yit halal, shemei dekudesha barichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tush bechata v'nechemata, damiran b'alma v'yimru, amen. Yehe shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'el kol Yisrael, v'yimru, amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu ve'el kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn and comfort to the bereaved wherever they may be. And let us say, amen. Let's be seated.
Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael v'yimru v'yimru amen. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael.
A few announcements before we conclude our service. Let's see, tomorrow morning at 9:45 will be Beyachad, which is adults in discussion. It will be facilitated by Rabbi Pinsky, followed by services which she will lead at 11 a.m. Tuesday Torah study is on hiatus until October. Next Friday, we will have the fourth of our 4 Elul writing explorations. So it's the last one because a week from next Friday is Erev Rosh Hashanah. So yikes. So we'll do one more of those next week, and it will be at 7 o'clock, followed by services at 8 as usual. So Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur are coming. If you are a member, I don't know how it works. You're going to get links. You're going to get tickets with links, and I don't know, go to the website, go to bishert.org and you'll find everything there. I don't know what else. Oh, there's cooking sessions coming up with Saul Radow and also Sharon Spellman. Sharon Spellman's, I think, is first, and she's going to teach some Rosh Hashanah goodies, how to cook some Rosh Hashanah goodies. You can sign up for these events on Eventbrite. Everything, all of our stuff right now is on Eventbrite. So if you go to Eventbrite and search for Beshert, you'll find it all. Those are going to be cool, and I think well attended. I think a lot of people have signed up already. Ruth is saying, what about Slichot? Yes, Slichot is coming up on the 12th, next Saturday. Yes, thank you. Yeah, so we will have a service for Slichot. You'll get information about that shortly, since it's it's next week. So The holidays are coming up quick. Does anybody have any other announcements that I forgot? Linda Kushner Silverman asks about the prayer books being delivered. Yes, so if you would like physical prayer books for the high holidays, which I encourage, because we will be displaying a prayer book on the screen the way that we have been since this all began, but it's just going to be of what we're doing, and there's so much more in the prayer books. And also for some people, it's more comfortable to look at a physical prayer book than to be like looking at the screen the whole time. So you can call the office and go and pick up prayer books, or if you would like to have prayer books delivered to you, you can call the office and talk to Alice and tell her that. And then we'll make sure that they get delivered to you. And then you have a whole year to return them because we won't need them until next year. Anything else? Other things that I am forgetting? Susan?
Rabbi, yeah, I'd just like to mention the food drive, the Rosh Hashanah food drive. Everyone has received an email with a flyer with instructions. It also appeared in our Voice of Truth. It is very, very different this year, obviously. And we are asking people if you can bring your food donations to temple on very specific days and hours, or ask a neighbor, a friend, or a relative, or if none of the above works, please call Alice. We do have a few volunteer drivers who will be willing to pick up from you socially distanced. So again, please read the flyer. If you have any questions, call Alice, or you can contact me. I am on the membership list. You can call or email me. And I just want everyone to know that the need is unbelievably great in terms of food. We're giving some of the food, obviously, to our own little pantry, and we will be giving a food to Our Lady of Refuge Church Food Pantry. They're part of the Interfaith Coalition that we belong to. They feed hundreds and hundreds of people every week with bags of really good food, unexpired, unopened, and maybe nutritional too. So thank you for thinking of us. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Any other announcements that I have forgotten or been unaware of? Okay. So we are going to close our service this evening with Shalom Aleichem. If you saw the email that I sent, I've been sending an email on Thursdays, and I included this week a poem that was an interpretation of Shalom Aleichem. So let's sing Shalom Aleichem.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachi Hasharit, Malachi Elyon, Mi Melech Malachi Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Boechem L'Shalom, Malachi Hashalom, Malachi Elyon, Mi HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Baruch Hu Nil Shalom, Malachi HaShalom, Malachi Elyon, Mi Melech Malachi Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Tzidkem L'Shalom, Malachi HaShalom, Malachi Elyon, Mi Melech Malachi Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha, Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'yichuneka, Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. May God bless you and keep you. May God's face shine on you and be gracious to you. May God lift God's face toward you and give you peace. Amen. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.